Done. Let's enlarge my head right here, live during the
Hey
show.
everybody, welcome to the stream where it's a casual 3-minute hangout sesh where I make Cat's head bigger.
Usually he does that just by telling me how great I am.
Mm-hmm. Cat, you were so good today in your stream deck.
Now I can't tell if you're
shoot.
joshing me or not.
No, you were, but then I was gonna say that, and then your head was gonna swell like this.
Oh, nice. Well played.
Well
played.
It would have been better played if it had gone off perfectly. But it didn't.
But alas. That is not how this is gonna roll.
I think we're live. Let me check.
Yeah, we are. I've got
good.
a little
Great.
feed. Just glancing. I should probably set this up in another direction, because then I'm looking away from the frame. Nobody wants that. So speaking of the Stream Deck training,
yeah,
I had recorded some Stream Deck stuff and realized that I was looking in the opposite direction of, like, when you have it on the screen. I had set it up so the screen share was somewhere else, so it looked like I was looking away from the screen. And do you know what I mean?
No, but I want to. And that's the important thing. I want to understand, Kat.
Picture that I'm doing a demonstration right now. And so instead of you being in this shot, there's a picture of my screen. I'm showing a Stream Deck, let's say.
That'd probably be better for our ratings. Yeah.
Yeah. But then I just start looking this way. And then now I'm looking away from the configuration on the screen. But if I look this way, I'm looking towards the configuration on the screen. So it's all about where's my eye line going. So I had recorded a Stream Deck thing separately where I was looking away from what I was teaching on the screen. So today for my live, I purposely made sure I had set it up so that my picture-in-picture that I was looking towards the screen. Now, does that make sense?
Yes. Now I get it.
Okay.
I'm following.
Also, for any of you who are here, please say hello in the comments and let us know. Don't be shy. Maybe you're multitasking, but
yeah, maybe you're in lurk mode. If you want to lurk, that's totally fine. We respect it.
Yes.
So, yeah.
That's true.
I
lurked a lot in my past.
This was your garbage can phase where you would just lurk behind garbage cans and watch people?
What? No. What?
I don't know. Just saying words. Goodbye. Well, no, stay there. And real quick, if anybody's taking a drink of water, I'm about to transition now. That was for the audience. I didn't want the audience to be distracted.
Drinking water.
Drinking water. We come on screen, they're thrilled, spitting water all over their technology and ruining it. I don't want that to happen.
Yeah. All right.
Hey.
We're here.
Hello. Welcome to the show. I just went to the dentist, so I feel very proud. I have no cavity. It's a real win for the day.
That is a win. I also noticed you have a haircut, but I guess that wasn't the same appointment.
No, so here's the thing. This is not cut. It's funny. I went live last night too, and they're like, "Did you get a haircut?" I'm like, "No. I just haven't. I'm just lazy. I haven't done anything with it."
No Wolverine hair this week.
No, and it is Wolverine free. So
nice.
Yeah.
So if anyone is new here and you're not familiar, this is Are We Live Now? And Paul and I talk about what it's like to be new to live streaming, and then we also invite other live streamers to come on the show and talk about their experience. So that is what we do, but we usually kick it off by checking in first how the last week has gone. So Paul, do you want to do that?
I would love to do that. And we call that segment the good, the bad, and the meh. Did you notice something a little different about that segment?
No, I was looking at the camera.
Well, I took out the wrong sound effect, and now it goes away on its own. I have timed it perfectly, like a scientist.
So, full disclosure,
tweaking.
I can now hear our intro song, which is great. I still can't hear. I can't hear that little segment intro. So
you can't?
I just look at the camera and I smile.
God,
I can't.
Kat, what a pro! You're such a professional. You can't hear anything that's happening.
I think we both know I'm not a pro, but I'm working on it. That's why we're here.
Well, everybody, welcome to. Now you can hear it. And now it's way louder than it should be. Welcome to the good, the bad, and the meh, where we talk about what's happening in live streaming and our lives in general. The good, the bad, and the meh. Kat, do you want me to go first, or did you want to go first?
I don't know. Why don't you go first?
Great. All right. What's been good? Dang it. You know what? This is why you should write stuff down. Listen. I had something. Oh, it was something too. Shoot, I can't remember.
Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, maybe the words you say will trigger thoughts.
All right. So, okay, the good. Can I cheat? I feel like I had 2 goods in a row.
Please, cheat away. You just saw my contribution. God knows the show needs something worth watching.
All right. So, first, today, you mentioned this earlier, I did a Stream Deck presentation showing how I set up my Stream Deck, and I did that live. And I had a lot of fun doing that. There were people in the chat, and they were engaged, and I was kind of switching cameras and showing the Stream Deck, and I don't know, I just felt like it was a good energy. I at least felt that. And I know you were there for some or all of it, which was awesome. And it was a good vibe. So that's one. And then the other is that yesterday, I kind of at the last minute-ish, on Saturday, I was watching Doc Rock and his channel. He had a live, and I just happened to be nerding out in the chat about how much I love Notion. He mentioned Notion, and I just started saying how much I love Notion, and I use it to create content. And during his live stream, he said, "Do you want to come and talk on my show about Notion?" And I was like, "Yeah, I do." Of course I do. I love it, as everyone here who's been a regular knows. And so yeah, I showed up yesterday, and I went live, and I showed a little bit of how I use Notion for content creation. And people in the chat seem to be really enjoying seeing how I've set up Notion. And a few people have downloaded my free template, and I don't know, it feels really good. So that's my double win, and I decided I would share both of those today.
Those are huge wins. And I realized a good SAT question would be, Luria is to Clubhouse as Kat is to blank. What's the answer? Yeah. If you get it on the SATs, I'll help you. Notion. Now you know how to answer that question.
And if you don't know, now you know. Yeah, so that is a really good SAT question. Mm-hmm. Do you have something good to share?
I do. So here's a thing. I started, and I really had a ton of fun Saturday night. So I'm doing live streaming, and a lot of people, it's just kind of like a hangout session, which is cool. But one thing I've started doing is I'm kind of making this narrative thread between all the episodes, and as I'm doing it, I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. I have this way of like linking the episodes. The first part of the episode is kind of like slowly putting together this story about this cop who's after me. It's a long story, but I'm having fun making it up. So it's kind of like really, I'm very excited. It's giving me that opportunity to kind of like improvise and have fun. And I'm playing with sound effects and all these images, and it's goofy, it's stupid, but it's like, this is kind of a neat, it's almost like my goal is like, it's going to keep you coming back because you're like, I got to figure out what's happening with this person who's trying to hunt me down. It's been fun. It's been really fun.
Is that the cop that made the appearance on Friday?
Yes, that is the dolphin cop. And
yes.
he is... We don't know why. We don't know why he's going after me as hard as he is, but he is. And I'm going to have to make some choices.
For our community, which hello to everyone who has said hi, love audio production, Paul, CK, the cutting edge Mario, welcome, welcome, welcome. So I popped in on, I think it was Friday, and Paul brought up Dolphin Cup, and I just suddenly, my mind went back to old school SNL, like was 70s, maybe 80s, of the land shark. And so I was picturing like Candygram. Anyway, so but Paul was not familiar with that sketch, even though you are pretty familiar with SNL, but that one in particular seemed to have not been one you were or that you knew. So I enjoyed that I was able to introduce that to you.
I'd heard of land shark, but honestly, I didn't know it was an SNL thing. So, yeah. Egg on my face. So I felt very foolish. I was like, oh, it's an SNL thing? Okay. But I went and watched all those sketches. Very funny. And yeah, anybody watching me would think, this guy's ripping off Dolphin Cop or ripping off SNL. But I plead ignorance. Didn't even know. I've heard of Land Shark, but didn't really know it was a whole sketch. So anyways, there's a dolphin, and he's after me. In manga.
Oh, okay. Apparently my audio is a little softer. Let's check on that. Or maybe Paul, can you adjust me?
I have you up as high as possible.
Oh, sugar donuts. Maybe you got to turn yourself down. CK, can you tell me, is that a little bit? I've moved my mic a bit. Is that better? And I can... Oh, wait. Please tell me you're faking, Paul.
No, I wasn't faking, but I turned myself down. I just wanted to make sure. There we go. Hold on. What about that?
A little bit softer now. You seem really soft to me now.
Well, that's just because I'm very doughy. But I'm working on weight loss. Wow, Kat, this is the time to talk about how... No! Oh, no! Welcome to live streaming, guys.
This is your camera's way of saying, don't put yourself down, Paul. Don't. So now...
It's a professional. I'll come back. I'll come back better and stronger than ever.
We never said we were pros. That's for sure.
Did somebody say that in the comments?
No. I was just based on what's happening. People seem to be loving this, actually.
Hello.
But now I'm curious about this sound and how much now. But you're much softer to me, but
yes.
I mean, I can also adjust my volume.
I turned myself down.
Okay.
So I can turn myself up. I can turn myself further down. Yeah, we got options.
Maybe we can ask our guest in a moment how much, because we should probably sound the same to our guest.
Ooh, nice transition move.
CK is saying, Paul, turn yourself up just a little.
You know what we need? We need a producer. Let's be honest. What are we averaging? Like 8 people watching at the same time? We probably need a producer.
Yeah, we need to start investing in this.
Yeah.
We need to up our game. So now we talked about good. Did you have any bad, or should I start with bad?
Yeah, one more good thing I'd like to share is I was super lucky and it's kind of a mess. It's a mess situation. So I'm just sorry, we're jumbling up good, bad, and meh. But you're all smart watching this, so you can follow along. The good is I got a couple mods to help me out during my shows now. The bad was it's actually really funny. Somebody came in and was trolling me in the audience, just saying like rude, inappropriate stuff. And everybody in the chat was like, Paul, you got to ban this guy. You got to get him out of here. Paul, kick him out. He's a jerk. And I am flailing on my end, trying to get him out, trying to figure out how to do it. I don't know how to ban anybody, so I'm trying to figure it out. He literally is like, hey, Paul, you're really bad at this. this trolling. Like, you're really bad at mod. Like, kick me out, Paul. Come on. He's telling me to kick him out.
Oh,
Like, he's literally
yeah.
helping me get across the finish line. But I am so incompetent. I actually, for a second, make him a mod by trying to delete him. Realize my mistake.
That's amazing.
Very quickly, take his mod status away. He is so uncomfortable and just kind of like weirded out at this point that everybody wants him gone and I can't do it. He's like, I'm just going to leave. And he literally just leaves. It was like a bully who realized, this is such a helpless person. I shouldn't beat up on him. And he left. Oh God. It was pretty hilarious.
Story, that's amazing. I love that story. I know it's awkward and during it you were probably high stress, but that is an amazing story about trolling. Just put it out there.
Pretty great. He was like really trying to help me ban him, and then eventually was like, I'm just gonna go.
He's like, this is getting really uncomfortable.
So that's another tactic to trolls. Just be like that.
That's funny.
So it was a good and a bad and a meh all rolled into one. So I don't know. How about you?
That was a triple whammy. I actually don't. Well, I don't know if I had a bad this week, but I would say a meh is trying to find my rhythm, I guess, for the video stuff, because I always have these lofty intentions. And if there's one thing I'm consistently good at, it is underestimating how long something takes. And then I just find myself stressing out, and I'm basically creating my own stress with my weekly schedule. So for example, I thought, okay, Wednesday is my live day. I go live on my channel, kind of midday for me. And then I go live here on the Are We Live Now. And I thought in between, I'm going to record a couple of videos. Like I think I'm over ambitious with my ideas. And then I do need time to decompress. And so anyway, I think that's a meh, is just like trying to figure that out. And it is a stressor. And so I want to really work on that and be more realistic about managing my energy and when I can record. And there probably needs to be a second day where I do some recording and just be okay with that, because that's probably what's going to work best, instead of me trying to push myself to do something that's just not going to work. Does that make sense?
No, it makes absolute sense, especially since you want to do this for the long haul, and you have multiple channels you're working on and doing great on all of them. And
thank you.
Yeah, to keep up that level of production, that's got to be a little draining. So I get it. Like, you got to balance. And I'm kind of in the same boat right now in a similar way, in that I'm really enjoying going live every day. And that's kind of my challenge to myself. And I think I have like 7 days left in my month of going live. And after that, I'm kind of like, I don't know. What do I do?
Oh, yeah.
This has kind of been really delightful. It's been a nice building opportunity. Also, I realized, and I don't know if you found this, and I was telling a friend about this. When I have more things to do, like when I have this responsibility, self-imposed responsibility to go live every day, it really helps me organize the rest of my life a little bit more, because I'm like, this thing matters. Now, how do I organize everything else so I can get to this thing as well? So it's like adding more to my life has actually helped me structure my life better.
Yeah, it does. I do. Yeah. Haven't you heard that, that comment? If you want something done, give it to a busy person, because they have so much going on that they need to slot it. And so I think what you've got is giving you that structure of, okay, this is what my day looks like. This is what I need to get done. And then I think what I'm doing is encroaching just on the other side, where I'm kind of trying to jam too much. So it's like, yeah. But I do think that makes total sense. And so you have a decision to make, I guess, at the end of your 7 days, of what does a regular, like consistent, what can you keep up and what works for you? Yeah.
I've never heard that phrase, but that makes a lot of sense.
Can I add a little aside?
Aside away.
The word delightful, I really enjoy that.
Isn't it delightful? It's great.
I almost said it's delightful, and then I realized, but you said it. So anyway, but yeah, I just wanted to say it's a good word. I enjoyed it. I'm glad you dropped it.
Yeah.
Speaking of delightful.
Oh.
You want to bring our guest on?
Absolutely. I'm going to hit buttons. You intro. I'm going to try to make this perfect. Hitting buttons during your intro.
Okay. So we have bringing on our friend Jeff Bull, who both Paul and I met in August, going live every day in August. He's a great guy, got a great studio, and we are really excited to talk to him and about his live streaming experience.
What's going on, Jeff? Oh no! Hold on. Such an amateur move. Jeff, I apologize. Let's do this from the front. Jeff, how you doing?
I am good. How are you?
I'm good.
I'm like, is this thing on? Bueller?
I was so close. I was one button away from making that seamless.
That would have been beautiful. It would have been. Do you want me to just leave and come back? Would that be better?
I don't know if I trust technology today. Oh.
Let's do this. Guys, so excited. Oh, sorry. Kat, you do it. You did it so much better than me.
We have a delightful guest. Let's bring him on.
Jeff, it's so great to see you for the first time today. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Good. Doing good.
Awesome.
Yeah, we are.
This pre-show has been
sorry.
It has been interesting. I've been like having a tough time like staying muted. I'm like, what is happening? This is amazing.
Now, that's your own stuff. That's not like a Paul producing thing. It was just you having a tough time staying muted.
Yes, basically. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm like, I want to unmute myself, but no.
Well, we are excited to talk to you. And so to give our audience a little bit of background, do you want to tell us a little bit about you and also your live streaming background and kind of how you got into live streaming?
Totally. Yeah. So Jeff Bull, professionally, I work for Cisco, Cisco DevNet, which is like our software advocacy part of the company. I run a team of like advocates. We get out there and like do events and talk about software development and get people try to be excited about writing code and all that fun, happy stuff, make content, etc. I got started in live streaming back in April of this year for the first time. I did Lita back then when it was live every day in April or whatever. And I had been following Luria and Live Streaming Pros for I don't even know how long. And I saw that pop up on my feed. I'm like, well, we're in the pandemic and I'm at home all the time. I had literally just built the shed. For anyone who doesn't know me, I'm in a shed in my backyard. So I just built this shed to be an office outside just to get out of the house since we're working from home all the time. And I saw this. I'm like, you know what? I want to be doing videos. I want to be doing something else. And I jumped in. I had never really planned to do live streaming. I'm like, I'll just use this for edited video. And then, of course, having to go live with people every single day for 30 days, you start to become a little bit more comfortable with the idea. At least I did. And that was kind of it. I started going live in our Facebook group that we have. I started going live on YouTube and then trying to be in as many opportunities as I could because it was such an interesting way, at least for me. I'm a very social person, even though I tend to be introverted. I need a lot of human connection or I start to get anxiety. Like, oh gosh, is everything okay? And so I started doing live streaming more because it let me actually connect with the community more often than picking up a phone and calling somebody, because that's just weird. I don't do that. Call people. But this was great because I could just talk and no one could respond back to me. So I could just do that and didn't have to listen to people. It was fantastic. All the things I needed, it gave me. So it was really amazing, It's a very, very, very giving situation for sure.
And you don't have, you don't have to bring up somebody's comment. Like you can see CK wrote something, but I don't have to bring it up. So did it ever happen? I just get to keep talking. That's pretty awesome.
What comments? Wait, there's a comments button in Ecamm? I have no idea what that is. It's very cool, I guess. No, it was a lot of fun. And it's ever since then I've been doing streams on and off live and then doing more edited video to just keep up the whole idea of not just creating content, but I like to be able to teach and I like to be able to kind of put a voice out there and and engage with people in that way. And video, I love doing video. I am not good with scripts. I'm not good with, blogging. I've tried doing blogging, and I just don't do good at writing, but like just taking thoughts out of my head and sort of like, waxing poetic on camera for a few minutes. I feel, whether I'm good at it or not, I don't know, but I really love doing it. I feel very comfortable in doing it. So yeah, it's been good times.
So I can definitely say you're very good at it, because I was telling Kat this before. Stop it, it's true. I was telling Kat before this that you were one of the first people that I ever saw. Like, you were basically a commercial for me for LSP, because
okay.
it was pretty cool, because I was watching them for a little bit, and somehow, I don't know if like maybe you were a guest or somehow, you know what I think it was? You probably wrote maybe in the chat or something, and then I like just cut and pasted that name and searched Google or Facebook. But watching you live was one of the first moments where I was like, oh, that's a hell of a background. That's a hell of a look. This guy seems really casual, very confident, casual on stage. Maybe there's a thing to learning how to do this. And that actually kind of really got me into it more.
That's very cool. Yeah, I thank you. I appreciate that. I try to be as much myself doing this as I possibly can. And for a while I was doing videos like on time management and things, because it was something I was trying to learn more about. But I realized after a while that I wasn't actually very comfortable talking about it because it felt forced. So I switched over to something that was much more my speed, like Star Wars. So I do a lot more Star Wars things, because you start to realize that when you actually just do something you enjoy or talk about something I don't want to be so big as to say you're passionate about, but that you actually really like, weird how you start to sound like yourself and people actually like to engage with you. I know, surprise, but
well, I'm glad you brought that up, because I was thinking that when you were sharing about your experience getting into it and getting more comfortable, is that when I have heard you talk about things you genuinely care about, so two that come to mind is when I've heard you live stream talking about music that you're passionate about, and then also Star Wars. These are things where I can tell that this, like, you come alive and you want to share this, and that's the type of thing where when you love something and you show up and you talk about it, and you can easily talk about it unscripted because you care about it, then other people will resonate with that. And that's where you start to build that connection. And it really does make a difference versus if you are trying to be a certain way or talk about a certain thing. And sometimes it's not always a good match. Whereas when it's something that you want to talk about, it really does. I think it connects.
It's so true. My prior role at the company I'm at was in sales. I was in sales engineering. And so often I learned that when you would go on site with a customer or have to present, we called them executive briefings, where you'd like go to our big office and like show off all the cool new hotness that we have, and like have to wax poetic in a room to executives in suits about like why buy our stuff. I noticed that if you tried to force yourself to like present on something that you just didn't care that much about, or you weren't super excited about, it was really hard. You'd have to practice at it and really work at it. I'd have to do it all the time. And so when I would start finding myself talking about things that I actually really cared about, to your point, Kat, it was so easy to do. Like it's not that I didn't have to prep, but I didn't feel like I had to prep. Like I could read a little bit and go, yeah, I got this, man. I could talk about this. If someone has a question, let's just go off script. It's no big deal. And then the audience feels more comfortable. And I found that a lot with live streaming is that exactly what you said, when you talk about things that you just love talking about, this is not like, I know the best way I can think about it is it's not like starting a small business. You're going to start a store in the town that you live in. Like, cool that you want to do something that you love selling, like selling, Frisbees. Great that you love doing that. But if there's no market for that, no one's going to come. Like, it's cool that you love it. This isn't that. This is one of the things where you don't need to be just trying to fill a niche in a market. If you are passionate and excited about something, the audience watching you will connect with you because like, oh, wow, I feel like I'm with this person. I can have a conversation with this person, and they want to come back and listen to you and engage with you on a regular basis. And I don't know, for me at least, it makes it a lot more fun and enjoyable.
Yeah.
Did you realize that pretty quickly, or did that take you a little while? Because you said you're like, oh, I really like talking about Star Wars and stuff like that. Did that like casually sneak into a live and you're like, oh, this is nice? Or did somebody say like, oh, wow, you seemed really much more casual and more present talking about this thing? Like, was it kind of like self-learned, or did it come from the outside?
It's a really good question. So today's Wednesday, I think, right? So if I started this 9 months ago, no, it was both. It was definitely both. I've dealt with like the whole, like a lot of people, the whole imposter syndrome thing. And I still do. Like I had something hit me this morning that felt that way. And even going through Lita and having encouragement from people, I can actually remember the time that it sunk in for me. And this, Paul, this might have actually been where you saw this, is Luria did a series of these before the Lita in August this year. She did a series of live streams where she invited a few of us who participated back in April to come on and like just talk about our experience with the program. And on one of them, she invited myself and a couple other folks that we know. Mm-hmm. And it was great. I had a really good time. We just talked about, like our experiences, et cetera, et cetera. And I remember one of our other mutual friends who's in this group, Patty, she told me on a stream where she and I were messaging one day, and she told me that like seeing me on that stream is what got her excited about even trying this. And hearing that from her, it took me a little bit to not feel super self-conscious about it. But hearing that from her and kind of thinking about it, I was like, wow, somebody else saw something like how I behaved and connected with it. Like, I don't need everyone to connect with me, but one person did. Oh, wow. Okay. Like, I kind of had to step back. My wife and I were talking about it later in the day. She's like, Jeff, that's exactly what you were looking to do. Like, how do you not see that? And she knows why, but it was that moment of somebody else connecting with me and being very honest about it. Like, I saw this and realized, holy crap, I can do that too. That helped. It didn't make it any less scary to keep doing it, but it made me feel okay with trying again and continuing to try.
It's kind of like
remember that stream. I think, yeah, Paul, I think you did see that. You probably saw that stream, and I watched that as well. Mm-hmm. And it was hearing people's firsthand experiences of what it's like that kind of got me thinking, do I want to do this? This sounds a little crazy, but it did help to have other people who had just kind of jumped into this. This was not their job, but they are giving it a try, and that they enjoyed it so much. And so that really, let us know, for those of you who are here with us in the comments, if you were inspired, because I think a few of you did the live every day in August or April. Did it get you there because you were hearing other people who were doing this and you could maybe see a little bit of yourself in those people? So I'd love to hear if that's the case or not.
Kat, your next level audience engagement. You're always like, turn that chat.
Well, now the pressure's on, because you always talk about, Kat, you're good at that. And so now I have to keep it up.
Oh, I'm sorry. I've set this bar too high. It's like that movie Up. You're just flying away further and further. Oh, no.
But, okay, so one of the things that we always like to kind of talk to our guests about is mindset stuff. And so did you have to make a mindset shift or sort of switch your thinking a little bit in order to get comfortable doing live streaming?
Oh, yeah, 100%. I've been a big fan of Carol Dweck's work on mindset growth and fixed for a long time. And probably, actually, that's why I had this sign. I don't know if you guys can read it, but it's kind of why I have this up here. I always tend to overthink things. It says, don't hold on, let me overthink this. My wife had that made for me. Go figure. It's something I've always dealt with. And I still deal with it every single day, where I tend to get I think like a mile deep into a problem without just saying, let me just try something and just see what happens here. And so I definitely, for live streaming, when I was starting to live stream or even create edited video, I would start thinking, well, I have to do these 3 things, and then and I would just keep thinking about all the stuff I would have to do to get ready to go live or whatever type of video it was. And then I would kind of look up, and it's like 3 days later and I still haven't done anything. And it took a while to get into closer to a rhythm of, if I'm going to do something, just leave the house, grab a water, come sit down in the shed, close the doors for a minute, and just go live. Just hit the live button and just do it for a couple minutes. And I think that's actually why that Facebook group we're all in has been super helpful, because just being able to go live to a group of people and just kind of talk for a minute or two about anything or nothing or what have you, when you start doing it, at least for me, you get a little bit of that momentum and you stop thinking about it so much, and you just do. And then every single time I do a live stream for our friends and then I walk away, I'm like, oh, okay, all these ideas come to me like, okay, here's what I should be doing in this video. Here's what I want to do. Okay, start planning this out. It's the mindset of like, stop thinking about it, go do something for a minute, and then you get a little bit of momentum. It's almost like working out. Like if you just start, oh, blood's pumping, I feel good, I can just keep going. But it's like that first step, you kind of have to do it, and it's a little scary, little or a lot scary. But yeah, you definitely, at least for me, it took me 3 or 4 months at least after that first Lita to even get to a point that I like walking into this one in August where I was like, yeah, no problem. Like you asked me to go live. Sure. No problem. I'll just jump on and go live. Doesn't faze me at all. I would still be a little bit nervous jumping onto it, but no, it definitely took me at least a few months to practice over and over again. Even if I feel okay about it, it still took a lot of practice to get there.
Do you remember what your first experience was like going live? Kind of dipping your toe in that water and being like, okay, let's see how this goes. Do you remember kind of like the feelings or what you talked about? Or was it the same location? Did you mix it up, try something else?
It was, where was it? It was in the house. My first one, I was in so we have a room in the house that's my wife's office now that we shared for a while. That's why I built this. And our desks were literally back to back. So if I reached over the back of my monitor, I was touching her desk. And I ran her up and said, you got to leave. I got to do this. She left the room. I set up my camera. I had this little Logitech Brio, and I did that first one. And I remember I did the same thing everyone does, like hit the button. Am I live? I don't know. Am I live? Oh, crap, I am live, because people started commenting like, oh, hi, hello, people, some things, great. I did my lead, bye, everybody. And I hung up, and I was like, what the hell did I just do? And I remember walking back to the inside the house and grabbing a beer, because it was like 4 PM. And I grabbed a beer, I'm like, what am I doing? And like, I looked at my wife, I'm like, I don't know what's happening. She's like, Jeff, it's just a video like anything else. I'm like, you say that, and you're right, but I was so freaked out. I was so completely freaked out. And so the next day I made a point of doing it for my phone, and I took a walk. Oh. And that was almost immediately easier, because I didn't have to think about it so much. I kind of just walked and like held the phone off to the side. So I wasn't like looking at the camera the whole time. That helped. But yeah, that very first one scared the crap out of me. It sometimes still does when I do this. I don't let that bother me as much. It doesn't get in my way so much anymore. I can kind of put it away. But in the beginning, oh yeah, I was freaked out. Totally freaked out.
Yeah. Okay. That's good. Good. I'm not alone. Me too. Yeah. I was very freaked out the first time. So. No, that's a great story. I also love how you told your wife, you're like, I need to do this. I need you to leave. I need to be alone. Me and the Brio and all these people.
Yeah, I didn't quite tell you what her reaction was to that, because it wasn't just, okay, dear. Yeah, because that's not my wife. She was like, yeah, uh-huh. She was like, all right, I'm leaving the room anyway, but all right. It was something more like that.
Leaving. It's not because you asked, but I am choosing to leave this room.
Exactly. Love you, babe.
I want this noted for the record. So now you talked about that first stream and how you weren't sure you were live, but have you had any sort of awkward moments during a live stream that you would be willing to share with us and the audience?
God, probably so many. I've blocked them out many, many times. Lots of drinking. No. Awkward moments. Not a lot of awkward moments, to be honest. Honestly, I think the most uncomfortable was it last week? I think it was last week, maybe within the last few weeks, where I've gone live. I start talking, I'm like super into something and realize I'm totally muted, which is not really that big of a deal. Like, I'm like, just people are like, also I finally look at the comments like, oh, you can't hear me. I just look weird. Great. I'm like, at least with audio, it's not so weird. That's about the most awkward. Now, other than that, I think one time I went live for a friend of mine, like a small group just to test with, while I was making pizza on my pizza oven outside. And I was like dropping a lot of colorful metaphors, let's say. And my buddy like starts texting me like, dude, you know you're live. Oh no, that's right. I went live on Instagram by accident. That's what it was. I thought I had like gone on somebody else, and I went live on Instagram, and I get a buddy text me saying something, and I'm like, why are you texting me? And then my wife walks out of the house. She goes, you know you're live, right? I'm like, oh, hi everybody. I mean, thankfully, I dropped all I did is I dropped the F-bomb a couple of times while I was making some pizza because I burned myself, and people were like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "It's fine, it's totally fine." And then I hung up Instagram live right in the middle of all of it. It's fantastic.
That finding out that you didn't realize where you're going live, it's a really good example.
Oh my god, that sounds like a nightmare.
Oh, dude,
that sounds
I'm
like
glad it was
such
just
a nightmare.
making pizza, not something else.
You have an outdoor oven, like a brick oven?
Like a
no,
pizza oven?
I do have an outdoor pizza oven. Yes.
Nice.
So the brand is called Rockbox. It's like, I don't know, it's like 25 inches deep, probably 14 inches wide, just big enough for a 10-inch pizza. You can hook up either a gas or wood burner to it, but it'll cook a pizza in about 90 seconds. Ish.
So Paul's going to be driving over to your backyard in a few hours.
Fact. All I need is 90 seconds. Don't come back there for. Give me 2 minutes.
Another joke. I don't know your audience. There's another joke there, but I'm just going to leave it alone. Never mind.
No, nothing weird. Nothing weird here.
No, yeah, I haven't done it so far this winter because it's usually too rainy outside in the East Bay. But yeah, I actually did live a couple times in our leader group where I was making pizza while I was live streaming because I could set up like an arm for my phone right next to the pizza oven while I did it.
Nice. I didn't know you were East Bay. Where are you at? Are you Oakland?
I'm in Concord.
Oh, you're Concord.
I am.
Oh, I'm Sacramento. Super close.
Oh, whereabouts?
Roseville.
Oh, my in-laws live in Lincoln. So yeah, know it well.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Highway 65. Oh, look at us talking roads.
Well, that's why I knew you would show up to his backyard. That's why I kind of made that.
When things are safe, you are welcome to come down. I will make pizzas all day long. I love making. I make fresh. I make my own dough. I make my own sauce. Just come on down.
Now a reason I want this pandemic to be over. Fine.
See? Wait, that's the only reason?
That's it. No. Just for pizza. Hold on, let me pull up something real fast.
So I guess something else that we do like to ask, and I know you've referenced Live Streaming Pros, as all of us have, that's where we kind of met and came from, but is there any other resource or videos or things that helped you that might be helpful for other people who are considering getting to live streaming or they're new to it?
Ooh, good question. There were a lot of YouTubers I watched that do other things like this, like Adrian Salisbury and a few others out there. Salisbury, I think is how you say his last name, who do a lot of teaching on this. But to be honest, a lot of people that helped me were had nothing to do with like live streaming per se. Like they weren't trying to teach live streaming. It was people who are on YouTube who are doing like how-to videos, but they're individuals. So I love hobby sort of woodworking. I don't do it as much as I'd like, but there's a gal named April Wilkerson. She has a channel called Wilker Do's as opposed to Honeydews. And she just makes things, woodcrafting of all kinds of stuff. And so I was actually watching her stuff, and I went back and started watching it from like early days when she was first starting, and a few others like her, other people would do that. And what it inspired me is to realize that literally anybody can do this. Like she was doing it from her phone, like just had her iPhone like turned sideways and upgraded over time, and now she has a whole business out of it. And I'm not looking for that necessarily, but to watch it was interesting because it kind of helped me realize or just reinforce that idea that I said earlier about if you are just yourself doing something you thoroughly enjoy doing and talking about that, there is an audience for you. It might be tiny, it might be huge, who knows, but there is a community of people who do want to engage and like seeing that content. And watching a lot of that on YouTube is actually what got me more and more, not just excited, that's part of it, but more confident that I could actually do this and not worry so much about whether like the Field of Dreams thing, like build it and they will come. Like I kind of stopped worrying so much about whether an audience would actually be there, and just did it because I actually enjoyed doing it. And what helped the most was being at this company. When we could do these things, we used to have our huge customer event every year. It'd be like 30,000 people go to Vegas or San Diego every year for a big customer tech event, training, etc. And I would show up, and I got to go a couple times to represent customers. And as I'm walking through our main hall, I would have people walking up to me left and right. Oh, you're Jeff Bull. Oh my God, I want to meet you. I'm like, great to meet you. My wife came with one time. She's like, who is that? I'm like, I have no idea, but okay. And it was just people who were following me on social or following my videos that I'd post on YouTube. And I had no idea people were watching this. Like I'd see there's a handful of views, but I would get people walking up to me all the time at the conference. And I'd have even friends of mine like, how do you know these people? I'm like, I just posted videos. And it's not a humble brag. It's nothing like that. When that would happen later on, I start to realize, holy crap, there is really a community. Like there's an audience that I'm attached to. It's not a big audience, but the people who are in that audience really want to connect, and I really want to connect with them. And it just built my confidence up to realize that just keep doing this. People do want to hear what I have to say about these things. It may not be a big audience, but who cares? Like it's fun and I'm really enjoying it. Let's just keep doing that.
Was there a moment when you were creating, because you mentioned that helped you realize there's an audience there, like people coming up to you, there's an audience here. Was there a moment like when you were creating, this seems like, I don't mean like a dark place, but I'm just kind of curious, like when you were creating, were there moments where you're like, this is not worth it? There is no audience out there that's enjoying this. Like, did you have those moments? And part two, which might not be relevant, how did you get out of that space if you did get to that spot?
That's a really good question. It happened twice. Excuse me. Once was sort of trivial. I don't really mean trivial. I don't mean to put anything down, but it was that typical moment where I did a live stream and there was no viewers at all. Did a YouTube live stream. There was no viewers. No one commented afterwards, nothing. And I got really in my own head about like, why am I doing this? Like, why is it even happening, et cetera? And it's obviously not indicative of everything, but I'd get people later on asking me questions about the video, or I would post the video. I'd do the live stream and then I'd reshare it on LinkedIn later on, and I'd get tons of comments there. And the input that I usually got was like, don't worry about the one channel. Like, I have a pretty big audience or community people that I talk to regularly on LinkedIn, and they were interacting with me there. So I'm getting the interaction. It just didn't come through the way that I thought it, air quotes, thought it should. But that didn't really matter. Like, it was still, the connection was happening. But I would say the more important one, and it took a little while for me to get out of, was late last year. My wife was diagnosed with a form of cancer, and we had just started Lita. And about 2 weeks into Lita, I stopped posting. I was interacting periodically, but I wasn't posting because it was really hard to, take her to treatments every day and my son. And I just didn't have energy for it and a lot in my head. And I remember I'm like, I can't do this. I didn't say it to anybody. I didn't want to make it a thing on Facebook. I just bowed out. And I remember getting messages periodically like, Jeff, where are your videos? Like, every now and again, I'd get somebody who I knew previously, where are your videos at? And that helped. It wasn't that it helped encourage me, and it's not about what happened personally. It was more about the fact that my voice isn't out there in some way. Somebody was actually looking for that because I had done it, or was watching it when it came out. And when it wasn't there for a time, they noticed. That helped. Hearing that from somebody, because at the end of the day, we all do want to feel a little bit of that confirmation, like, oh, this is resonating with somebody else. It isn't just all about what we want to do. You do want that audience participation in some way. That helped a lot. That in itself is what, after her stuff wrapped up and she started feeling better, that I felt like I could put myself out there again, that I actually really wanted to, because I like, okay, there is an audience, or people want to engage and support. I'm going to go do this, and I'm just going to go do it. The end.
Nice. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, totally.
Thank you. Sorry, I interrupted you, Kat.
Oh, no. I'm reflecting on, I think there's that piece that you said around, when someone notices that you haven't done something and they reach out, that can really be very meaningful. And I would encourage anyone, and even reminding myself, to, like, when you notice something, say something, because that person might need to hear it, or might need to know that you're thinking about them. But then I think the other piece, when we're deciding whether or not you're going to do this, is it takes you're giving it energy, and it is an investment in energy. So there are times when it can be disconcerting, or when you kind of get down, where you think, is this worth my energy? So there's a little part of that is, does anyone care? But also, I'm putting forward this energy. And I think that's a hard part for anyone who's creating content like this is, is it going to be worth that energy I'm putting out there? Can I get some of that validation? And is there someone out there? And that can be really hard.
I totally agree. And it is like one of the hardest things, at least for me, but I'm sure a lot of people, to deal with, is to be self-aware, analytical enough to realize that you're right, 100%, Kat, that we do want, even if we say, no, I'm totally doing this for someone else, like, this is totally for the audience, doesn't matter if I get anybody confirming, I'm confirming myself. Yeah, okay, cool. But yeah, we all do want something. Like, and that's not shameful. That's okay. Like, it's okay to feel like getting that little bit of confirmation is good. No problem. I would say it's also really helpful to take a step back and get some perspective sometimes, and realize that you as a person can get just as much out of doing this and putting yourself out there just for the sake of doing it, as having any audience participate. Because being able to just get thoughts out of your head and put it someplace is almost therapy in its own right. Is it the same as going to a therapist? Sure. No, it's not. But can it help just to get something out of your head for a minute, no matter how big a deal you think it is or not, or whether it's a big deal to you or not, can help. It really, really can. And it can make you feel like you're actually being a human who's contributing in some way, shape, or form. And that can make a big difference. And I would tell anybody, I have told a few people that have coached at work who are like, I just don't know how to get myself into this. I'm like, do it because it actually makes you feel good. Do it because you enjoy doing it, and realize that sometimes that is and can be enough. And it doesn't have to be more than that all the time. Sometimes it can be other things too. That's great. But sometimes you can just do this for you to feel good. And being that kind of selfish in that way is totally okay.
Yeah.
How did your last stream go? Did it make you feel good?
Hell yeah! I talked about Star Wars for 25 minutes. It was fantastic. Talk about Star Wars, the High Republic. I could do that all day long. It was amazing.
I didn't see that. I didn't see
that
dude,
it was great.
I'm there for
it. Was super
That'd
fun.
Be interesting.
Absolutely. I'm actually planning, if it works out, a buddy of mine who lives up in Buffalo, New York, is not just a big Star Wars fan, but he's a huge Disney geek. He and his wife, no kids, but they're like every year when they could, 2 to 3 times a year, they'd be at Disney World. And he's always getting some sort of new geeky Star Wars Disney gear. Posted some t-shirts and thing the other day. Is like, I got my Star Wars socks and on my belt and my Disney ears. And so I want to do a Star Wars live stream with him. We're like, hey, what's Jay's new, Star Wars geekery toy this week? Because the guy's literally always, he got a waffle maker, I think, that made Mickey Mouse face. Like, and he's really genuinely excited about it. I'm like, I want to do a stream with you because this makes me happy.
That is a big fan who's going to commit to waffle ears.
Dude, right?
I love when people just own their passion about stuff. I think it's great. Oh, and CK wants the Death Star waffle maker. Wait, I'm guessing that's real, right? Let us know, CK. Is that real?
I'm sure it is. I just want the Death Star Lego set and the Star Destroyer Lego set. It's like 20,000 pieces. It's like 4.5 feet long when it's built. The dang thing is like, I think it's like $600 to buy. I keep seeing it. I look at my wife and I'm like, hey, she's like, that's not going to be a thing.
Okay. So I don't know if, I don't think he's going to see this stream, but a few years ago,
it's a good start.
For Christmas or birthday, I can't remember. Myself and my parents, we went in and got Phil the Lego. Oh my gosh, why is it? It just escaped my mind. The Millennium Falcon. Oh. And it's still not made. And it's not because he doesn't want to make it, but he's like, where does it go? Because it's big. And I was like, well, I guess like we could mount it on a wall, but we don't really have a lot of space for a giant Lego Millennium Falcon. So if anyone has ideas
for a giant like Lego Millennium Falcon,
what's the best way once it's built? Like where's it gonna go? And I think he genuinely cares though about that, because he cares about the stuff that he owns and he would want it to be, respected. So how do you anyway? So that's the problem in our house. So it's been sitting there in the box for a number of years. Just saying.
I have a roll of fishing line in the garage right now for a couple different Lego sets that I want to hang from the ceiling. Actually, you can't see them, but the Legos that are behind me, like Boba Fett ship and a few others. Yeah, I have plenty behind me that I want to hang. I just haven't taken the time to do it yet. But that's going to be a thing. They will be hanging someplace up here. I don't know where yet. So I mean, to be fair, the Star Destroyer, if I ever got that, it would take up probably this entire shed. So I can't actually do that in here because it's like 4.5 feet long, I think. But
oh my gosh, it's
crazy. Huge. Yeah, it's enormous. But I digress.
You could live stream the building as you go through it, because it probably take a long time too.
I've tried. There's a bunch of streamers out there who do that. They do live streams of themselves actually constructing. Like open the box, open the packages, and make them. The problem is you got to have some pretty good editing skills to do it, so it doesn't look like it's a 4-hour click. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love watching Lego stuff, but I'm not watching you build Legos for 4 hours. I'm just
that's a really good point. You have to know.
Mm-hmm. I was gonna say, what if you interview people like other Lego experts or something? So it's like you're Lego building while you're interviewing Lego insiders. So
I could do that.
It's a visual, auditory Lego experience.
I like this. Visual, auditory Lego experience. It feels like a sign on the outside of a new encounter at Disneyland. Like outside of Space Mountain or something.
Well, I think it's a good example. I think last week we talked about this, Paul, of you realizing what your audience will put up with and what they won't. And that I think you were playing a game that you weren't very good at, and you realized maybe the value in this is not as high as compared to other things that I do. And so, even your response, Jeff, when you're like, you don't want to just sit and build Lego, like what's it in for the viewer, where maybe an unboxing or maybe a final reveal or some editing to show the different stages, but probably people want to build their own Lego, not just watch somebody else build Lego. Yeah.
I mean, I know there's an audience for it, because in that one specific topic example, there are plenty of videos and streamers out there who do exactly that, or they put out, not streamers, but they put out edited video of them doing that. Yeah. But you bring up a really good point. Yeah, like there's got to be if that's all you're doing, cool. And there's an audience for it. But is that really what you want to spend your time with? Something I've been toying with is actually baking or like prepping like a sourdough loaf of bread on a live stream, like going live on Instagram or something like that, and doing like baking, because I love to bake and I bake a lot of bread and things like that. So doing something like that.
Bread looks awesome. I've seen some of your sourdough. I'm like, oh my God, I want that bread.
Couple options.
I did just make it.
You could call it loafing around. Or what about sourdoughs and don'ts?
Dude, see? Look at you.
So, sorry. Distracting.
Is this like a design thinking session? Okay, I'm down. Let me get my Kanban board out real quick. We'll do this. We'll make this a thing.
Wait, is that the professional term, design thinking session?
Design thinking. Started at Stanford, I believe.
Oh.
An actual thing. I have my Cisco
course. Yeah.
I've got a Cisco design thinking handbook back here someplace. Oh yeah. Stanford University created it years ago. It's a whole thing.
Huh. I call it brain to mouth. That's I just call it brain to mouth. I didn't know it's a whole system. I didn't know thinking was just a system.
It's a way of, coming up with ideas and brainstorming, and then just the actual process to get to the other side of something. So it's actually something people learn how to do, is to use design thinking to solve problems and to come up with ideas.
Kat, I'd love to hear all about it.
All about it.
Wow. Nice. Very classy, dude. Well played.
Yeah.
So you want to make
Canadian
you want to make a bacon sourdough?
I do want to make bacon and sourdough stuff.
Bacon's pretty great. There's probably an
bacon
audience
could
for
go in
bacon
sourdough.
as well.
Bacon, cheddar, sourdough. That could be a thing. I don't know.
Hell yeah!
I'm getting so hungry. Okay, so
You're welcome.
Delicious.
we don't want to leave without getting your take on, for a new streamer, what's some advice that you would give them?
Just do it. Nike said it best, and I know that sounds very pedantic, but it's like, just do something. Just pick. I mean, they talk about it in a lot of the groups we've been in, and I don't need to mention and like plug a whole bunch of things. Pick up your phone, pick your social network of choice, or if that's too much for you even right now, just hit that little video button on your phone, play video, and record yourself talking to yourself for a minute. Do a video journal for yourself. Do that. I've advised a few. Wrong way to say it. I have some folks at work that I've coached a few times, and someone I was talking to was prepping for an interview, and she was really stressed about the idea of doing this remote interview. And she's like, I don't even know what to say. And blah, blah. I'm like, here's what you're going to do. You're just going to pick up your phone, set it in your dresser, hit the record button for your video, and just talk. Just talk to yourself. Like, you're okay with looking at yourself. Well, yeah, I can do it in the mirror. Perfect. Just talk to yourself for a minute. You don't even have to go back and rewatch it. Just do it for a couple of minutes. Like the process of just doing it and just getting yourself in the flow of just talking about something helps so much more than you realize, even beforehand. You don't need to prep. Doing all of those things, prep and scripting or whatever tools you want, yeah, that's great. And you probably should do them. But you need to start someplace. If you don't just start creating content, you're never going to create the content. And I think the best thing I've ever done, or it's ever helped me, is just doing something to start with. You get a little bit of momentum. You feel a little bit more comfortable. You don't have a bunch of trolls the instant you start going, you are terrible. Like, that doesn't happen right away. Like, you need to be really good before people start calling you a horrible human being. So you just, that's okay. That's okay. You just leave that for a little. I'm totally kidding. That's what's been so super helpful for me is and anybody I've talked to is just trying to do something, and like, just do something. Doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't need to be big. You just need to get something out there and feel like, oh, whew, all right, that wasn't so bad. Go take a walk. Let me try something else. There you go. You've got a little bit of momentum, and now you can just kind of keep trying from there.
Yeah, it reminds me earlier with what you were sharing. It's action begets action. Like, once you take a little action, then you can just keep going. But it takes a lot more energy for that initiating energy. Like, just getting started takes way more than to stay going once you've gotten started.
I think Newton might have been onto something with that whole like laws and stuff. I don't know.
He had a lot. He had some live streaming breakthroughs. Really, that Newton.
Can you imagine if Newton was alive today, just like sharing his wisdom with us through live streaming?
That would be amazing.
He'd be streaming, and like an apple would hit him on the head, and then people would just be trolling him for that. And he's like, "I'm going to turn into something great. You just wait."
I don't know that I have. Should we just like all buy powdered wigs, and then we can do like a? What would Newton say?
Yeah, we should all go buy them because we don't already own them. Wink. I get
right.
I just have to say, well, soon I won't need a wig, but I had to. I think I'm not going to do this, but if somebody wanted to start a YouTube channel where they pretend to be old people live streaming now, I think like people from our past and our history, that could be pretty entertaining. And I did see someone recently, I think it was maybe a TikTok video or something, where they had, when you take someone from the past and plop them in the future, just, it's really comical. So I think that could be a good idea for a channel that would be very entertaining.
You know what you should call it? Ye Old Tube.
Have you like been holding on to that for a long time, or did you just come up with that?
That just popped in my head. I'm doing that Stanford brain to mouth thing, baby. I'm gonna go take Ye Old Tube right now.
Oh my god! Go register that domain.
Grab that domain. Yeah.
Do it.
Oh yeah, so CK is saying, I know a church that did that with people of the Bible. Yeah, I have seen. I think the thing I saw recently, I don't know if it was like a Joseph or something like that, where they had kind of did a modern spin and just anyway. But yeah, I like the Ye Old. Someone take it.
It's a race. Somebody get it.
My first thought was like that Drunk History TV show, but different. I love that show.
Just like that, just totally different.
just like that, but like not at all. You know, you get me. You guys feel me.
Awesome. Well, it's been such a pleasure to have you a guest on our show today, Jeff. So thank you so much. Paul, is there anything you want to add?
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
No, this was fantastic. This was so much fun. Thank you. And turns out yeoldtube.com already bought. But yeoldtube.co available.
There you go. Just buy all the subdomains around it.
Yeah.
Just buy all of them.
Oh my gosh. No, Jeff, this was so much fun. Thank you so much for opening up, telling us all your experiences. That was awesome.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Round of applause for Mr. Jeff Bowl. I say it every time, but it's true every time. Good episode. Great interview.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
I agree. And so does CK. She did a great job. Putting stories. I agree. A lot of insight there.
Ton of insight. That was so great. So helpful.
So what's next for you? You got anything upcoming this week that you want to share?
Kat, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I'm going to. I have sketch ideas. Have I shot them yet? No.
Oh yeah.
Do I
We're going to hold you accountable.
Oh my gosh. Well,
hold
me accountable. Didn't do it. I have in my head, I have more ideas, and it's like, stop it, brain. Stop thinking of ideas, because I'm not even producing what I think of. So maybe I should take that as a cue to not try to make them as perfect and just make them. Maybe I should learn something.
Jeff's advice of just start filming it. Maybe it's hot garbage at first, but you started to film it.
Well, let's not get crazy. It's not going to be hot garbage, but no, it probably will be 100%. But no, he's right. I should get out there and make stuff. And that pizza oven, man, and his bread ideas.
Oh my God.
Putting bacon in bread. This guy's a genius.
Like, I'm not joking. My mouth is watering hearing about the pizza and the bread, because I've seen the bread. I might have even seen the pizza. It's making me hungry. Although it's almost dinner time, so that could be part of it. That's part of it. So you are committing once again to the sketch.
Yeah. Yes, that is. Hold me.
Because I want to see that.
Really hold me accountable.
You have people who want to see these sketches that you have been talking about, and I think it's a good idea. And you just got to do it.
I got to do it. I got to do it.
What did I say I was going to do for this week? I don't remember.
Probably something you accomplished. That sounds like Kat. Probably something you did.
Was it?
Probably something you set out,
I don't remember.
Everybody said, that's impossible. She'll never do it. And you did it. That sounds very cat-like.
No, me doing a lot of stuff does sound cat-like, but everyone else saying that it's impossible, that part's a little take over the world. Yeah, I haven't done that yet. I've, once in a while I bring up total world domination with Paul, but not yet. We're not there just yet.
We're getting there. Tell your friends to
one of the
subscribe to
things-
this channel.
So one of the things, this is actually maybe was this a myth thing? But I had planned to make a video about why I love Notion, and I was getting ready to record it on Friday, and then Friday just totally got away from me. And I did not make it. But as I was prepping for the video, I realized that I really want to do this video justice, partly because of I love it and respect it and I want to do it justice. But also I realized that it's not always easy to explain what it is. And so I wanted to make sure that for any viewer who's never even heard of it, that they're not totally confused by it. So that's why I haven't filmed it yet. So it was supposed to be out on Saturday, and now it's delayed. And then today, as I shared at the start, I maybe overcommitted myself to too many, so I still haven't filmed it. So that's the thing I'm working on.
And that's why I haven't filmed my sketch, because last week just got away from me. This whole last week has gotten away from me.
I also mad respect for I believe that's the Pinky and the Brain quote there from Jeff. Unless I'm wrong, Paul, you can.
No.
Is it?
I'm pretty sure. Are you pondering what I'm pondering?
What I'm pondering? Is it Pinky and the Brain?
I think
okay,
it is.
And then a total world domination button for the Stream Deck. That would be amazing. Just what would be the action that we would program?
Yeah, that'd be an amazing button.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Maybe just for, you know what you should do? You should, Kat, I don't want to tell you your job, but maybe you should do a Stream Deck tutorial that tells people, and you could sell. Oh, nope. I'm actually going to keep this one. Nope. I'm going to share it. What do I care? I like putting things out there. You should create a series of buttons that could be like inspirational for people when they look down. So like when they hit them, they'll get like an inspirational message that pop up or something. Like you can do it. Or, something that just like kicks them in the ass and makes them realize they're worth a damn. You know what I mean?
I do. And we need more of that. Everyone needs a little bit of that.
I'll create a free downloadable of
you can put it on Gumroad.
Gumroad. Which is
but
a fun
full
word.
Disclosure, folks, Gumroad I put up my Notion template on that, which people can download for free. But then they have an option that if someone wants to throw you a few bucks because they think this is a great value, even though it's free, that I think that's a cool feature. So there are people who have downloaded my free template, but they've thrown me a few bucks because they value that I've put it together. Yeah.
I'm sorry, not really. I doubt that there's value in what you're doing. I just didn't know there was opportunity. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying like, oh, I didn't know there was a thing you could do on Gumroad. That's very cool.
Yeah. So, the two things that I'll share here with our audience. So one is the Gumroad thing. So if you do have a digital download or something you want to share with people, you can put it out there for free. And then if someone decides that they want to throw you a few bucks, they can do that. The other thing is that I got an account with Buy Me a Coffee. So I learned about it through a Notion expert who on some of her videos, she's like, if you found this helpful and you want to buy me a coffee, like here's a link. And there are people who think, yeah, you know what? You just gave me so much value. I'm going to buy you a coffee. And somebody bought me a coffee yesterday for the first time ever. And I was like, this feels great. And they said, thank you so much. You provided a lot of value.
Wow.
I bought you a coffee. So I think as a creator, sometimes it can be frustrating to like, how do you actually, and viewers, like we don't have, what's it called? Like community tab, super chats, etc. Like we've both watched streams where there are viewers who want to just show us some support and they throw out a super chat, and that's just not available for all content creators. So having a little something of like, CK Gumroad, and it's spelled exactly as you spelled it, and it's a great way to be able to put up products. But then Buy Me a Coffee, you don't even need products. You just set up a link and you can change it to like buy me a cider or buy me a Lego set. And people, if they want to just say, hey, I appreciate you and throw you a few bucks, then they can do that. So
cool. Go ahead and click on my link, buymeamoney.com, where
this is my Venmo.
You can buy me money. And I appreciate it because I'm a big collector of it.
Yeah.
My collection's very tiny. Thank you. That's, oh man. I feel like I need to add value because you're adding Gumroad, coffee, Jeff Bull's adding a ton of stuff.
You give value. You show up
No.
every day, you entertain people. But
I'm
you
trying to
could
give a
use it
compliment.
for.
I'm trying to give.
You could actually use it to have people sign up for your improv classes, so they could be like they could name their price. Basically, I think that's something you've talked about. Is
Yes,
that
that's how I do
you
it.
want it to be accessible?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you already. Oh, so what do you use for that?
So literally all I do. No. I like what you're suggesting better because what I do right now is I just email everybody at the end and say, hey, if you got value, you can send me a couple bucks or you don't have to, whatever works. But I like the idea of just doing it. Maybe I can figure out a way people can like register on Gumroad for classes and they can just pay whatever they want for the class.
Or there might be a way to do it on Buy Me a Coffee because Buy Me a Coffee actually does have, I think, a little bit more. We'll discuss offline. I feel like this is a conversation that for all of you watching, go check out Gumroad if you have products. Buy Me a Coffee can do memberships and you can sign up for one-off appointments and stuff. So there might be some functionality there.
Well, truthfully, I'm gonna pull a cat here. Hey, let us know in the chat. Are you enjoying this conversation, which is kind of a little ticky-tack in the Gumroad and world of coffee? I don't know, Kat. This is kind of interesting. Like, truthfully, like,
it is interesting.
CK was like, "What is this thing called?" Like, I don't know. People might enjoy this. This might be the cool kind of deep dive into stuff because I don't
Extra value add. Maybe are we bringing you value?
You could buy us a coffee. No, you can't.
Oh,
we don't have anything set up.
And Jeff says, yes, I have Chrome tabs open researching these tools. Yeah. When I heard about it, I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. And at first I thought, is it weird to put a link to say like, buy me a coffee? But then I realized there are people who actually do sometimes want to find a way to show you support. And so if you've put something together or you've done something and shown up for people, there are folks out there who have the means and have the desire to say thank you and to help you out because you're a creator. So
I think it's a really great point because if you're like a certain size on YouTube, you can't do things like super chats. Like like Twitch and everything, you can pay bits and everything. So you can make a certain amount of money, but on YouTube, like I have people who follow who are like, "Oh, I want to pay you money." And I'm like, "You don't have to." But if you want to,
you should have a buy me a coffee, Paul, and it should be on all of your streams. That's your assignment.
All right. You know what? CK, my sketches aren't priority anymore. I'm gonna make a coffee.
Do both.
Nope, can't.
Make a sketch and then say, "Did you like this sketch?" Buy
one a
me
week.
Coffee.
One a week. I'm very busy. I don't have time for these 2 things a week.
All right.
No,
we are
I'll do both.
a healthy amount over. So let's wrap this up and we will be back same time, same place next week. Thank you everyone who joined us. And if you're watching the replay, thanks for joining us on the replay. Paul, anything before we go?
Bye.